Now, to the bad of coronavirus today. Anzac Day is slowly but surely being cancelled in different parts of the country. Western Australia has said that they're going to have no major services or commemorations. We talked about this last night with Jim Molan, who is, of course, a man who has served this country, about this very thing. Surely we can come to a scenario where we can have smaller groups inside the sub-branches just for veterans, because part of the reason that they want to be there on Anzac Day is to continue a bond, to not break a bond with people who've not been able to go on and live their lives the same way that so many of those veterans have been able to do. Here's what Jim Molan told us last night about why cancelling it completely isn't a great idea.
Normally I go to the Queanbeyan dawn service. There's a couple of hundred people go to that and many people watching. And then normally I would go to the War Memorial or up to Sydney or down to Melbourne to one of the big ones. I think if we're going to make a compromise on this, we make it on the big ones and we allow the smaller groups to have their commemorations in the local areas.
Another bit of bad news about coronavirus today is that in the UK there are some predictions that this is going to go until the spring of 2021. About 7.9 million people in the UK may end up being hospitalised. Remember, of course, just as it is there is here about those percentages about the people who get over it or the people who are mild, but obviously bigger the populations, bigger the elderly populations, so the idea that this is over in the next couple of weeks just does not seem to be the case. Now, to the ugly. Kevin Rudd. Now, Kevin Rudd is one of those former Prime Ministers who has to chip in at all times because he thinks that his legacy is being attacked if we're not praising it 24/7. Well, unsurprisingly, he got a free run to write an opinion piece in The Guardian today. The headline alone makes you crook. The government's coronavirus approach: go late, go half measures, go to Hillsong. Fair dinkum. Like, what sort of smart-arsery rolls around here about this go to Hillsong garbage? Now, I'll deal with this just very quickly. I'm not a person of faith, but 70% of Australians are people of faith. Kevin Rudd was a bloke who claimed to be a person of faith and used to do press conferences out the front of his church. Scott Morrison doesn't do that. They tried it during the election, they tried it during the bushfires, and now they try it again. That somehow the Prime Minister is a crazy Christian who is going to keep letting Hillsong endlessly off the hook. I don't even know if he knew that there was a conference that was taking place yesterday, but the truth is there were way more people who went to football matches, way more people who went to cinemas, lots of other things that happened this week, last weekend that's just happened, that won't be happening into the future. Now, the truth is, not everything is going to be perfect in this response, but the idea of just sniping and bitching for the sake of doing it diminishes any figure who does so. There should be one approach to everyone who is anywhere near leadership in Australia or has been lucky enough to be a leader of this country. If you got the Prime Minister's telephone number, call him and say, is there anything I can do? Smart-arsing in The Guardian is not helping, even you. Another bit of ugliness, this again from the shops, that apparently a woman who is blind has said that people were stealing toilet paper from her trolley. This was happening in Australia. If you did this, you are a bastard, an absolute bastard. And I have no doubt that the supermarkets will try to take care of this lady once we know more about her and all the rest. But seriously, that is the definition of ugly. And ugly scary is the amount of Americans that are actually buying more guns because of coronavirus. To be fair, there are some people in the United States that would do it just because it's Monday. But